2 weeks ago, me and Jamal set out on a journey to get the motor for the Mustang. I'm gonna be honest, it was not successful. We got our big bag of tools. We switched to the phone. We gotta be a little low key. There are 3 cars here that are an option for us. There's a van and I think 2 trucks. That's your first little hint at what this motor might be. The cars are still here. Whether the motor is in them or not, that's a different question. So we're gonna hope those motors are still in them and see if we can get it pulled today. This is option number 1. It's a F250. I don't know what year it is, like 80s, early 90s. And these had a 351 in them, or 5.8, however you want to say it. So that's what the motor we're gonna be putting in this car. It's gonna be 351. It's gonna be a junkyard motor for now. Eventually we'll upgrade to something else. Okay, option number 2 is this van. It's like a Econoline, something, I don't know. But it's like a 95. It also has a 351 in it. Now, these are a little bit weird because we'd have to either take the motor out the interior or somehow out the front. I'm not sure how you're supposed to take them out. But if you come this way, and you can see it in here. I'm just not sure how we'd get it out. Maybe we can rip the dash out and pick it up, but then you have to take the transmission out because the transmission isn't going to come with it. So you'd have to take it out the front if you want the transmission with it. This one is a better option because it still has the distributor in it, so less chance of water, but it's just going to be difficult to get it out. So we have like 2 or 3 more options we're going to look at, and then we'll have to decide. This truck was option. This truck and that truck over there were options. They're both EFI trucks. The problem is they are not. Is it a B? They're not roller motors. And I would like to have one of those. The van is, so we might have to end up pulling that one out, unfortunately. So I think we're gonna explore the options of pulling it out of the van and see how we can do that. Because I hate to try with this one and then pull it out and not be a roller motor. The only way I've been told you can tell is there's a stamping on the side of the block, which we'd have to probably pull the motor out to get to. You might be able to see it from up underneath, but like,
there's no way we're getting that.
Yeah, so we're probably gonna start on the van and see how far we can get. We'll have to get creative. And difficult, but I'm tired. This sucks.
What is going on over here?
I'm trying to see, kind of bolted it. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3 bolts on this side. Pretty easy to get to. And there's one in the middle, and it is a Torx bit. And I have those, but I didn't bring them.
We didn't bring them.
So, okay, we have somewhat of a solution. Oh God. So, we don't have any Torx bits, kind of. But I have this kit that has Torx bits in it. And one of these might be the right size. We got a couple options. So we're gonna take these long pliers. They're not magnetic, so they don't stay inside the socket. So, oh my God, this hurts my knees so bad. We're gonna have to take these pliers and just try out these sockets.
Hopefully you don't drop them in there.
Why would you say that?
Why would I say that?
Jamal.
There's no way you already dropped it.
I already dropped it. So we didn't get the 351 for the car like we had thought, but we do have a motor for the car. Now anyone who saw the last video knows that this is the motor that just came out of the car. Which is not as exciting as having a new motor. Well, new to us motor. But we did some thinking, and as much time we wasted not getting that motor out, it was going to cost us, the motor wasn't going to cost a lot, but to get it in a place where we were happy with it was going to be quite a bit of money. And we'd rather put that money into the other stuff we're doing with the car. So we know we have a good running motor with this, and the 351 and the 302 are the same platform. The other motor's just a little bit bigger. So we figured if we have to, you know, move to cut into the firewall or anything like that, we'll just leave a little bit extra room for it, and we can upgrade later. But this saves us a lot of money because we have a good running motor, and we may have some budget left over at the end to, you know, put some goodies on this one versus, you know, a whole new motor. So that was that. We also, if there's any footage of us trying to take the motor out of the other car, it was very difficult. We were doing it not quite the right way, and we didn't have all the tools that we needed. And we were going to go back for a second day and pull it out, but that's when we decided, like, you know, let's just not spend the money and put it towards something else. So we were still putting this motor in the car, and we have some parts for what we're doing for the drivetrain, so you guys will finally get a reveal of what we're doing with the car. So inside these two boxes are the first parts that we have for the drivetrain of this Mustang. Now in the last video, I was kind of vague when I kept saying drivetrain, because most people say, hey, what motor and transmission are you putting in it? Because the drivetrain is just transmission, motor, transmission, drive shaft, rear diff. Inside this first box is kind of gross, but this is a hydraulic pump for a transfer case for an R32 actually there was year ranges, I don't know what year it came from, but an R32 GTR. Now, for anyone who knows cars, that's an all-wheel drive car, which means we are building an all-wheel drive Mustang, which we also have in this box, the front differential from an R32 GTR. Now, you're probably wondering, why are you using that motor in this thing? Well, because we are. So in the GTR, is the oil pan is part of the front diff, so we're going to have to cut all that crap away. But I wanted to keep it a V8. I didn't want to put, what is it, an RB25 or 26 or something. I didn't want to put one of those motors in it. It's already going to be complicated. I feel like that was going to complicate things even more. And those motors, even bad ones are like $5-6 grand. So we're up in the price again. So we're keeping that motor. I do want a V8 in it. What V8 we end up in long term, I don't know. But yeah, we have that. And we'll show you guys in a little bit. It does kind of fit in the car. So that was we're taking it step by step. So the transfer case pump was a little bit of a impulse buy just because it was a crazy price. If none of the rest of the stuff ends up fitting, that's going to kind of be a waste. But for now, we know that the front diff kind of fits in there. Again, we'll set it in there in a little bit and show you guys. So we're taking it step by step. That fits. Next step is getting a new K member for the car and getting the GTR knuckles, which have the all-wheel drive hubs on them, and seeing how those fit. And there's going to be a lot of custom stuff to it. We're going to try to use as much Mustang parts as possible and just adapt, stuff where we can. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of custom stuff. Hopefully we don't have to cut too much of the car up. But we are going to be cutting the car up today. So like I said, we're going to have to cut the oil pan off of the diff, because we don't need the oil pan, we just need the diff. So we're going to cut away as much of that as possible. This is the dash. This is the structure of the dash. The dash is actually sitting over there. Oh gosh. The dash is actually sitting over there, leaning against the wall. It's cracked from the wreck where the airbag blew, so it's trash. Like it's not like a repairable piece. The whole thing's done. But we do need something to support the steering column, so we're just gonna cut, all the passenger crap out of it. And also, if you noticed, we meant to reveal it in a different way, but the whole car is apart. I mean, like the interior's gone. We didn't touch the interior on the last video. That's completely gone. The back seats are gone. Even, you guys saw the motor a second ago, but like the sway bar is gone. Everything's gone. Transmission's out. So this is a lot more apart than it was before. And we were gonna film some of it, but it just felt like we were gonna be here for like 3 days straight, just picking stuff apart. It was gonna be just another video of us taking it apart, which is fun, but like, I just spent a couple weeks picking at it here and there on my off days, so it was a little bit easier. Plus, a lot of interior stuff is really hard to film because it's just dark in there. Like, I normally had like a headlamp on, and it was just hard to see. So it was just easier just to do it in my spare time. And then now we can actually get to the fun stuff of cutting the car up and showing you guys all the plans for the car. So yeah, I think we're gonna get started on the dash and then just go from there. I guess I'll wear safety glasses. Going through it pretty good. Also, don't be like me. I wear Crocs during this stuff. Don't do that.
Do not try this at home, kids.
Don't try this at home. Can you step on it? Step on that side? Oh, it's just like barely a piece hanging on it.
Well,
That's done.
alright, so what are we doing first?
Well, we just spent some time brainstorming if this is actually what we want to do, because my dad has a lot of good ideas. He keeps questioning like, should we do it this way? Should we do it that way? Just to make sure we cover all the bases. But I think we've decided to stick with the plan. But we're cutting the front of the car off first because that oil pan's gonna take a little finesse. I think we want to be careful with it because we don't want to nick any pieces that we are trying to keep. So we're gonna wait on that. So we're just gonna hack the front of the car off. We already did the dash in like 3 seconds. That was a lot easier than I thought. So we're gonna cut the front off. That's gonna save us a lot of weight too, because if you think about it, all-wheel drive, you're putting more weight up front with drive shafts and axles and diffs and bigger knuckles and all that. So we're gonna save that. We also did a lot of brainstorming on the steering. That's also a big. That's something I didn't think about. We were thinking about, can we even fit the diff up here? Can we fit the axles? I didn't even think about fitting the steering because the steering is right in the way of where the axles have to go. So, yeah, we're gonna just cut the front off right now. So, yeah. Oh, no, it's about to go through. I think there was an extra.
You going through
like,
that sway more bound?
Yeah. You can hold it for like 2 more seconds.
That's why it was struggling.
On that bolt. Yeah.
Grab that. It's actually not as heavy as I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
I mean, it's heavy, but.
Oh yeah. It's not too bad.
No going back now.
Oh gosh.
That probably didn't take long as you thought it was going to do it.
No, I thought it was gonna take like all like the dash took us like we started like 2 minutes before you got here, and it was done as you were walking up. I was like, oh, that's done. Yeah, that didn't take nearly as long. The oil pan probably won't take that long either.
No, you screwed up. Shouldn't have said that.
We were for 8 hours cutting that thing up now, or I'm gonna like cut into the diff or something. You can actually go on one side of this little piece down here. There's a little ridge down there.
Yeah,
Mounting hole. Just
maybe even start where it, like where the pans goes on the like right there.
yeah.
On balance?
I guess so. I mean, it's heavy enough. I think it'd be fun.
No, it's
Spinning it. Well, we got the diff cut, or like one side, but cheap Josh one day a while ago bought some cheap cutoff wheels, and we're going through them like in 30 seconds. They're really crappy. So we're gonna get some more of those, and it's also lunchtime, so we're getting some lunch, and then we're gonna come back and finish this before mocking it up in there. Not really mocking it up. We're just gonna see how well it fits. So yeah, we got a good chunk. It's in the trash, but we got a good chunk taken off of this side, and we didn't even start on this side. We've gone through like probably 8 cutoff wheels and a couple sawzall blades. So we gotta go get some more hardware, and then we'll be back to it. All right.
There you go. That's a little smaller of a piece to deal with.
A lot smaller of a piece to deal with. Yeah. Well, here's what we got cut off the diff. This was the back. I don't know. We got these 3 main pieces cut off. We were gonna leave this on for have some mounting holes, but we cut it off anyways. Yeah, it weighs a lot less, a lot more room. We left some stuff on, just we don't want to cut too much away. But it's a concept, right? Like it's, it'll fit somewhere in there. It's got to step higher and farther forward, but we're getting that new K member for the car, so we'll be able to see how it really fits. Also, I feel like we glossed over the fact that like the front of the car is gone. Like we kind of just cut it off and moved on to the oil pan. Yeah. Which that's cool, but like, so we were about to just put this away on the shelf and do the suspension stuff like I talked. But I want to actually open it up and see if the diff is just trash on the inside. I need to know that so I can budget. The budget for this thing keeps getting bigger every day. I don't need the diff to be bad. So I want to open it up. I don't know why I didn't do that when I first got it. I've had it for, I don't know, a couple weeks. I just didn't think about that, so. There it goes. It was bound to happen. Honestly, looks pretty good. You know what we need to see? We need to see what gear ratio this thing has in it. Because the car right now in the rear has 373 gears in it. I think these are like 411s or like 410s. I can't remember. They make that, you can put that gear in the back. I would have to buy it. Because you need the front and the rear to be the same. You need to be spinning at the same ratio. Because if you have one with a gear ratio of 3.73 and one with 4.1, they're gonna fight each other and you're gonna break stuff. Yep. And the way you do that, normally, like on my car, I figured it out because you look at the rear diff housing and you can spin the wheel, like you have it up in the air, you spin the wheel, and for every revolution of that, like one revolution of the wheel, the diff would turn 3.37 times. Or is it the diff spins once and the wheel? No, yeah, definitely the wheel spins once and that spins 3. Yeah. So that means we spin this one time, that'll show how much that turns.
In theory.
But it's an open differential, so it's not gonna do that. And if I spin this side, it's gonna just spin that side. So I need to spin this side. No. How do I figure it out? Look. Make fun of it. Everybody makes fun of my headband, but you call me when you need one. All right, so we looked it up, and they're supposed to have 411s. And when we were spinning it, what we found out is we were thinking like, oh, if the axles aren't in it, it would be the same thing. Not true. There's like 2 sets of teeth on the inside. It's gonna be really hard to see. There's like 2 sets of teeth on the inside, and we were just spinning one set, and it was spinning kind of with the diff, but a little bit independently. And so like he spun the output, and I kind of held my finger on one of the gears, and it started spinning. Because normally when you spin it, they're supposed to spin, like one is supposed to spin one way and one's supposed to spin the other. And it wasn't doing that, and so I held that gear with my finger, and it started to do that. So I'm gonna just guess 411s because I'm not gonna be able to hold that gear the whole time as it goes around. So basically, if it had axles in it, it would be different.
Yeah.
So we'll, when we get axles, we'll confirm that. But I'm gonna guess it's probably 411s, and we're kind of far off from needing to even order those, so I'm not too worried about it. But my main concern was just, does it look good? And it does. So that's a good day for us. So we're gonna throw this on the shelf and then move on to the suspension stuff. Dang. Why'd they have my alignment so off? That's probably why it was always driving weird.
Was it?
Yeah, look how much the inside's worn down.
Yeah.
Versus that one. Yes, I'm getting new tires, guys.
Add that to the budget.
Good Lord, another $1,000. Bro, look how much room I just saved. I put another bike up here.
Yeah, man.
Park another one.
Maybe even 2.
Bro, I can get like if I get rid of that, I don't need the exhaust, I don't need the dash. I can get like another one right there, another one right here, and we can fit another one over there.
Probably 2,
Get like 5 bikes, yeah, maybe even 2.
Yeah.
Bro, I have to pull them out every time I want to work on the car, but or get in my house.
Yeah.
He's just moving the car. There's so little weight in this car.
The whole thing.
It didn't compress the control arm at all. So the only thing I'm thinking is, so it attaches, there's 2 bolts down here, and then there's this bolt up here. And I think if I just undo this stuff up here, it'll fall down. So we won't be able to compress the spring, but if I put the jack up under it, it'll at least allow the spring to not come shooting out. You know what I think it's doing? I think it's just spinning the strut, because like the strut is 2 pieces. I think it's just spinning the
So
strut.
it's not actually coming out.
That's why this piece is here.
So you have to hold the strut and then...
So you gotta get a 24mm wrench with a screwdriver and hold that piece still. I bent it. Yeah, screwdriver down. I'm not sure how you're supposed to get these off, but like you're supposed to have a screwdriver in the middle and that wrench, and you turn it and it holds the strut and you can turn the nut. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We just spent like, what, 45 minutes
Just about.
trying to figure this out. We got the other side off. There's like a little black cover that goes around the strut, and Jamal just held that, and then I turned the nut and it popped off. We did the same thing on this side. Well, the black cover breaks, so we can't hold on to that. And then there's like a little metal like hat piece at the top of the strut. We tried to hold on to that. That didn't work. We broke that. And I don't even know what we did at the last time, but something just broke loose.
I think I held the pliers and then something just came loose.
Yeah, something came loose, and now it seems to be turning off. So we've been round 2 of messing with it for another 30 minutes. We can't get, so that control arm won't drop down far enough to get the spring out. Looks like, unless you take the steering off. And when we try to take that off, it won't, like we can get the main nuts off, but the ball joint won't fall off, or the Heim joint won't fall off the steering pickup point. Another thing, it should take 5 minutes. Before we leave off this video, I did want to just show you guys one thing, because last time we left it off about a week ago. Me and Jamal were taking off the rest of the front suspension to try to get the K-member out, which is actually sitting right there on the floor. And we actually have the new K-member in. So this is a K-member from a company called BMR. It's a nice tubular K-member, square tubing. There's some, round tubing over there for some supports. Really good quality. I know a lot of people recommend some other brands, but this one just looked, kind of had the most structure to it. A lot of the other ones are very tubular, don't have a lot of bracing. It's also a great price for what it is. Some of the other ones can get pretty ridiculous. Anyways, we have this in here now, and we did discover we are gonna have to cut these motor mounts out and this brace here in the middle. Now the reason we have to do that is because the axle basically has to go, the center of the wheel is basically right here. So the axle has to go right through this little window. So we have to cut this brace out so that the axle has room to move. I doubt this little triangle window right here is gonna be enough for it to move. We're gonna try. If we can leave that brace, we will definitely try. I'd rather not cut, definitely would rather not cut into the brand new parts as much as I can. But we will have to cut the motor mounts out because these motor mounts over here mount to the side and they get right in the way of where the diff has to sit, which is kind of in this area. The back of it starts to hit this motor mount. Now, we could just notch this right here, but what we have been brainstorming with is motor plating this motor. Now, motor plate, if you don't know, is basically just a plate you stick on the front of the motor in between the block and the front timing cover, I think. And it basically just extends some mounts that you can weld onto the frame. It won't be over here. We'll have a new whole tubular front frame, and they'll mount to that. But it allows you some flexibility to move the motor up, back, front, or forward. Just, again, gives you flexibility and eliminates all that room right there that those motor mounts on the bottom or the side kind of have to go. And they're really not that expensive. So for the price, for what we gain in room, I think it's gonna be worth it versus trying to cut that out and make it work. So I hate cutting into new parts, but you know, it is what it is. I also, in some spare time, took apart the all-wheel drive pump. So I know I guys showed you that in the last video. It was one of the parts I showed you with the diff, and then there was that little pump I showed you. I didn't really show much about it, but I did take it apart, and basically what it is this piece is basically just like a manifold that has the fluid running through it. This is a little mechanical pump. This little motor drives the pump. This is a solenoid that you can basically with a PWM controller, you know, modulate it, and you can basically control the amount of fluid that's going to the transfer case. So you can have a full 50-50 split of power between front and rear. You can have 70-30, 80-20. I don't know the limits of it, if it can do like 5% to the front. I don't know like the high and low limits. I know you can do up to 50-50. And then there's like a little pressure switch, and then there's this little nitrogen canister on it, which is kind of like a pulse dampener, like shock absorber almost, because the fluid, when it starts to pressurize, can kind of jolt things. I didn't take that off because I don't know if I take it off, if it loses all the nitrogen. I don't really know how these things work. So I didn't take that off, but I wanted to clean it up because it was kind of gross. And also wanted to make sure it works. So I plugged this motor into a little power supply to see if it would work. And it did. So that's good. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's any advice you guys have about the videos, if you want more information, less information, I know sometimes I ramble about like random stuff. Definitely let me know. I want you guys to enjoy these videos as much as I enjoy making them. Also, if you have any information about like GTRs or all-wheel drive systems or like Mustang stuff that I'm just overlooking, this is my first time doing this. I have a decent amount of knowledge on this car and just, you know, mechanics in general. But I've never dealt with GTRs. All these parts are new to me, so there could be stuff I'm overlooking. So any information about the project, about the videos, definitely welcome. I want you guys to enjoy it as much as I do. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.